We have made it to a new year and I have completed another journal. I will link up here to last year's journal if you would like to look through that one, but I'm excited to show you this all filled out, everything completed, and let you know some of my thoughts and feelings on using this journal and what I did in it. So let's just jump right in. So this was my inspiration for the setup of this journal. These birds that I still can't remember what they were called. Somebody told me, but I can't remember. And just this like vintage color scheme. I really enjoyed it. Here was my vision board, and I would say that not a ton of it really came to fruition, but I can look at a few things and see that they definitely did. My word of the year was brave, and I don't know, reflecting back on it, I don't think it was the perfect word for me, but it wasn't inaccurate either. Here are my goals for the year. The ones that are colored in are the ones that I did complete. And I like to announce that I did go to therapy. If you have been on my bullet journal adventure with me, you will know that every single month I ask myself if I went, and I finally did. This was my future log that I wanted to put different readathons in, but I found myself super overwhelmed with my TBR as it was, so I did not really do a lot of readathons. I tried towards the end, I hosted one towards the end, but I just wasn't really feeling readathons, so I did not carry this into my 2024 journal. This was my Goodreads goal. Unfortunately, I did not make it, and I didn't love the way that this one turned out. I regretted it the moment I made it, but it was so much coloring in that I didn't feel like I could cover it up or glue this together and ignore this page, so I just saw it through, didn't love it, and yeah, we're just gonna move on from this one. It wasn't the cutest. Here is my Story Continue book club, all of the books that we were supposed to read in the month. I wrote down if I did not start, so DNS instead of DNF. I wrote down my star rating if I did read it, or if I DNF'd, I also wrote that. So there's a handful of books that I did not even start, and a handful that I did not finish, and I'm a little bummed about that. So hopefully this year I will be much better about the book club reads. Here were the series that I was tracking. I didn't love how this ended up looking. I felt like there was a lot of wasted space over here, and it just made it too large for the series that I was working on, but it is what it is. I liked my 12 and 12 challenge of reading one classic a month. I just like how it looked at the end to see it all completed. I won't lie and tell you that I finished Secret History in November, because I didn't. I finished it in December, but I read more than 50% in November, so I counted it. Over here were the movies and shows that I did watch. Everything that was checked off was something that I watched, which makes me excited because I think the year before I had watched like 1 or 2 things total. So I did focus a little bit more on that, but not as much. I still have a really long backlog of movies and shows I want to watch. Here is my 23 things that I wanted to do 23 times in 2023, and there are only 2 that I absolutely completed, like meeting new people, but I got a new job and met a lot of people there, so that made it easy. And then I did TV episodes watched, and you know, if you watch like 2 seasons of a show, you kind of mark that out real quick, so I was able to complete those. But there's a couple that I got up there in, but I have since changed my goals and things I want to do 24 times next year, so hopefully it'll look better by the end of this year. Here were my These Books Will Deconstruct, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were not finished, and I did unhaul one of them. I just couldn't bring myself to unhaul these ones yet. So then we have my 2023 best reads of the year. In quarter 1, A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexandra Rowland won. Quarter 2, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson won. Gilded by Marissa Meyer won in quarter 3. And Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros won in quarter 4. And that meant that my winner was between Way of Kings and Fourth Wing, and clearly it was The Way of Kings. I think my hardest decision of the year was between A Taste of Golden Iron and The Way of Kings, but I'm really happy that I went Way of Kings because I honestly don't even remember the characters' names of this book, but I do know that I absolutely loved it. So I think it shows that Way of Kings was meant to be the winner because I went down a whole Brandon Sanderson Stormlight Archive deep dive throughout this year. I haven't finished it yet, but we're going to catch up. We're going to catch up in 2024. Then we have my TBR. I have not gone through and checked off the ones that I did not read, but clearly if they're not checked, I did not read them in the last year. But I think this one was only 2 pages, 2 full pages, I mean. So I guess 4 TBR pages. But I did extend onto the 5th and 6th page, and I did not use anything on this last one. So thankfully I didn't buy so many books that I had to use all of these pages, but I am kind of bummed that I wasted these 2 pages. This was my then and now. I answered this question on January 1st and did go back and answer them on December 31st. And this was my one thing that I wanted to manifest in the year. And it did not happen in the way that I thought it would, which, you know, I think that's a little bit like manifestation. But I am going to keep that one a little bit private because I've heard that you're supposed to when it comes to manifestation. So moving on, we have my tarot spreads. These are ones that I pulled at the very beginning of the year. I pulled like 1 card a night for 12 nights, and each night represented a month that I would be focusing on, and these are what they had said and which cards I pulled. And I did go and reflect on them on the very last of the year, and I was surprised, like looking back at what happened during the month and how I interpreted the cards at first and how they were different than what I saw in them at the very end of the year. So I brought that into my 2024 layout because I really enjoyed doing that reflecting and learning about what the universe was saying. So I thought it was cool. I had these 2 pages that I covered up because I didn't like how they looked, or I think I made a mistake actually and made too many of my tarot spreads, so I covered those up and I decided to make this my reading stats. So I took these off of Call Pile and just printed them out and wrote a couple of little notes here and there, but I think it turned out really cute. So I'm not going to really go over these, but you can just see that my trend for the year went down in reading. I had a lot of different genres that I was reading from, and I would say that a good majority of my books were either 4 or 5 stars. So I had a really good reading year. Then we come to my monthly ones. I already did videos for, I want to say the majority up until about July or August. I believe August might have been the last one. So I will link a playlist of all of my previous ones if I haven't already done so. And I'm just going to skip through and flip through each of these ones so you can see what they look like. I'm not really going to talk about them. January was my gingerbread spread. Took me forever, but I loved it. Then we moved on to more scrapbooky, which is like my bread and butter. I love scrapbooky ones for February. Some wasted pages here because I didn't read enough. I loved this plaid flannel type design. I wish I would have done that more. Moving on to my March tarot inspired ones. I had a fun time making these because my friend handmade these stamps for me. April was like rain and spring and animals, and I really did like this color scheme that I used for these ones. Some wasted pages here. May was happy and sunshiny, so I leaned into the sun and yellows and oranges. Again, pretty scrapbooky. I liked it. Wasn't my favorite, but it turned out okay. June was my birth month, so I went with my favorite color, which is blue, and I threw in some gold elements because I liked the way that they looked together, and I was surprised by how these turned out because I wasn't sure if they would be cohesive enough because they were very scrapbooky. Another wasted page. July, I love this one, and I think a lot of people love this one as well because of the colors and how they all look together. I was really inspired by all of these purple stickers that I found at the bookstore near my house, and I kind of built the theme around purple. And I had fun with this one. I liked the way that it looked. Just gotta shout out this one sticker. I absolutely love it. I wish I would have bought an extra one for myself to put somewhere else. Then we had August, which was my favorite and which inspired my 2024 reading journal. I went with a quilt theme, and I absolutely loved how these colors turned out together. I just thought this one was so beautiful. It really just made me so happy. Then this is where I think I stopped recording these videos. I don't know why. I just couldn't find the energy and motivation to do so. So we have my September ones. I was going for like a picnic blanket themed because I thought that sounded super cute. So I made this, but it was so messy. I was using a ruler to try and line up everything, and it was smudging everywhere. You can faintly see it on these review pages, but it got really bad on these last ones too. I tried to cover it up a little bit and it really annoyed me. So I didn't really want to show that one off. October, I just kind of used some Halloween themed scrap paper and cut it out randomly and tried to make it look kind of like picture frames and a little creepy, and I don't know, they were okay. They weren't my favorite. I really like this scrapbook paper. I think it's really beautiful, especially this one with the moths and the moons and stuff. But I, again, wasn't terribly proud of how this one turned out, so I don't think I recorded a video for it. November, again, went scrapbooky themed. Wasn't super proud of it. I think I might have started this one like deeper into the month and just kind of threw it together, so I had somewhere to put everything. I also didn't read very much, only a couple of books in that month, so a couple more wasted pages here because I just wasn't reading. Moving on to December, I did take a little bit more time with this one. I had one sheet of this scrapbook paper, so I just used it to line the edges, and I've used these stamps before. I want to say in my 2022 journal, and so I wanted to use them again. And so I made it more Christmas themed. I like how it turned out, pretty simple. It took me only a little bit of time to do. Here are my reviews, but again, wasted pages. So I'm really trying to eliminate that this year because it bothers me. I felt like I could have at least used the blank pages to cover up mistakes in like future bullet journals, but that is okay. It is already done. Here is my wrap up for December. And I had one extra page that I did cut out, and then this was blank. So I just decided to put my Apple replay here, me and my mom at the Taylor Swift concert, my top 5 songs, which are all Taylor Swift, my top 5 artists, which Taylor Swift like really dominates because I had almost 13,000 minutes listened, and my next one was Olivia Rodrigo with 900. So clearly I was in my Taylor's version era this year. Here is my swatch page of the year, and I was going to do a 12 Magical Nights reflection, but I decided not to. So that is my completed 2023 reading journal. Let me know if you had any favorite spreads or months that I did, or anything else that stood out to you in this journal. I'm really excited that it is all done and it looks pretty cohesive, and I just really enjoy having a reading journal. I think it's a very fun thing to do and a fun way to track my reading and track some of the things that I've done throughout the month. And looking back at it at the end of December and reflecting back on some of these things was really awesome too. But I am very, very excited to be moving on into this new journal. Again, if you haven't already watched my 2024 video, I will have that linked in the description as well, so you can go watch it. But I think that is all that I have for this video. Thank you so much for sticking through it, and I will see you on Tuesday for my next video. Bye.